Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about clauses, so focusing in on clauses. But before we do that, I want you to take a second and review phrases and clauses because it's important to understand the difference before we move into talking about just clauses. So phrases and clauses are different because, all right, we have this blank up at the top, okay? So what I want you to do, I want you to pause for a minute, okay? And it's going to have you write a description of how the two are different, okay? So hopefully you wrote down that phrases do not have a subject and a verb, while clauses have a subject and a verb, okay? Now, let's do a little bit of practice on this 1 through 5 and talk about whether each of these things is a phrase or a clause. So, after the game, the team sent a telegram to their opponent. So my underlined section is just after the game. So looking at that, I definitely don't have any kind of verb. So my game isn't doing anything. So it definitely can't be a clause. So I'm going to say phrase. Now, number 2, a helicopter lowered a ladder from the sky. Or just a helicopter lowered a ladder. I see that I have a subject helicopter that's lowering. So I have a subject and a verb. So I'm going to say that one's a clause. All right, now, number 3, we have handed Rico the money for our tickets. So the money for our tickets. Well, I have a couple nouns like money and tickets, but I don't see any verbs. They're not doing anything. So that one's going to have to be a phrase. All right, number 4, the man was walking in the middle of the road. So here, it looks like I just kind of have 2 prepositional phrases in the middle of the road. I don't see any verbs, so that's going to have to be a phrase again. All right, the singer from the group had performed. So it looks like I've got a subject, singer, and I've got an action, performed, so that one's going to have to be a clause. Okay, so remember, all clauses have a subject and a verb. However, there are actually 2 types of clauses. Okay, independent clauses can stand alone as a complete sentence. So if I took all the rest of the sentence away, all right, the independent clause should still be able to stand alone as a complete sentence, okay? So let's look at an example. When the bell rang, the class bolted for the door. So if I took away this when the bell rang, okay, I could just capitalize this. Oop, doesn't really look like a capital. Capitalize this, add a period, or I got a period, and that would be a complete sentence. The class bolted for the door. All right, so that's what an independent clause is. It's part of a bigger sentence, but it could stand alone. That's why it's independent, okay? I smiled at the new student, okay? So this whole sentence, all right, is just an independent clause. So a simple sentence, just, a very straightforward, not too long sentence, it's usually just one independent clause. I fell down the stairs because I was jumping down the steps. So in this sentence, we have 2 clauses. So we want to look for subject-verb pairs. So I have I fell and I was jumping. But if I look at it, I have I fell down the stairs and because I was jumping down the steps. Now, only I fell down the stairs can stand alone. So this one is my independent clause. I fell down the stairs. Now, dependent clauses have a subject and a verb, but they can't stand alone. They have one of those cliffhanger words, like because, that stops them from being able to stand alone. So, because she was so pretty, if I just stop there, that's not a complete sentence. It's not a complete thought, okay? I started with the cliffhanger word, so it can't stand alone. All right, when I rode the roller coaster, I was terrified. I have 2 clauses here, so let's see if we can find which one is dependent. So I have I and rode, so that's one subject-verb pair. I and was, and that's another subject-verb pair. But when I rode the roller coaster, that can't stand by itself. If I just said I was terrified, that's a complete sentence. That's an independent clause. When I rode the roller coaster, we don't know. What happened when you rode the roller coaster? So that one's dependent. All right, the little girl cried until her mom gave her ice cream. Again, I have 2 clauses here. Little girl is my subject. Cried is a verb. All right, and I could just say the little girl cried. So that one's independent. So I know that's not it. Until her mom gave her ice cream. I got my subject, mom. I got my verb, gave. But if I just say to you, until her mom gave her ice cream, you'd be like, what happened until her mom gave her ice cream? Okay, so that part can't stand alone. That's a dependent clause. Okay, so to recap, phrases don't have a subject and a verb. Clauses do have a subject and a verb, but some of them can stand alone as their own sentence, okay, and some of them can't. Some of them aren't a complete thought, right? So what makes them not a complete thought? Well, that's going to be those cliffhanger words, okay? And just like we had our fanboys, I like to call these my awoobus words, okay? So these are some of the most common ones. It's not a complete list. But after, although, as, when, or whenever, while, unless, until, because, before, if, and since. Those are the most common ones that you'll see, okay? Now, we call these subordinating conjunctions, okay, because they make the clause subordinate or dependent, okay, to the other clause, all right? Now, these words are my cliffhanger words. They leave us hanging, and they stop the clause from being able to stand alone, okay? All right, so we're going to do some practice with this tomorrow, but hopefully you've got a good grasp on what independent and dependent clauses are, and you'll be good to go. All right,